Hey folks, Jake and I are here to shoot a video for H2Vinyl. Brad's hit 200 subs and he's got a contest going on regarding center rings and labels. And we're going to do an entry. How about it, Jake? And then he wants a story, and we're going to try to do both, and I'm going to try to hurry. My entry will probably be a little bit different because I'm bowling in the in the lane I know, and that's Christian rock. And so, and I'm going to do a little different spin. So I hope all my answers will count. Let's get into it. All right. So the first example, Jerusalem. Picked this album up. I don't know, in the last year or so, and I don't have a whole. I'm a big fan of Jerusalem, but I don't have a whole lot of their stuff on vinyl. So I was very surprised when I got this, and it was on Lamb and Lion Records. I do not normally associate this band with this label. When I see that label, I usually think of one of my favorite bands of all time, the Garmon Key. This is their album, uh, Straight on Lamb and Lion. In fact, let's go to another DeGarmo and Key album. This Ain't Hollywood. This is an earlier album, I believe. And it had a little bit of a different Lamb and Lion centering. So that's the first one. Now, this next one is a little bit of a twist. What happens when you get an artist that you're so familiar with, but then they throw you a curve? Everybody knows my favorite artist of all time, Russ Taff. And on this album, it's on the gold myrrh centering. I have not just Russ. There's a lot of people on this gold. Al Green, some of his gospel stuff. Amy Grant, but I always think of Russ and that gold myrrh record label. So I ordered one of his other albums, and when it came in, this is the self-titled Russ Taff. It is on Horizon. Now, the difference between the two records is that this album was bought in the Christian marketplace. This one was bought in a mainstream record store. Because if you look close, the Horizon is owned by A&M. There is an A&M symbol right there. A&M had signed a distribution deal with Word Records, and they were because Amy Grant was so huge, and Russ and some of those artists, that they were putting some of their albums out in the mainstream on different labels. So I'm sure somewhere I could find this album with a gold label. All right, next example. All right, so there's one of my favorite bands is Resurrection Band, but now I always think about Resurrection Band being on Gurr Records. Now I don't have any actual records to show you of Gurr Records. Most of the stuff I guess just about all of the stuff I have from Gurr Records is on CD. I don't remember, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember any Gurr Records pressing anything to vinyl. But now Resurrection Band preceded Gurr Records for quite a few years. And so they were on several record labels. So I picked this up within the last couple of years and was surprised when I pulled out this album and it had the Star Song label on it, because that is not a label that I normally associate with the Resurrection Band. And it's a little different. I usually see a little bit of color in the Star Song label. And the band I normally associate with Star Song is Petra. Now, having shown you that, knowing that I associate Petra with Star Song, here comes the twist. This is an earlier Petra album, but I know it's a repressing because it's actually on A&M. And this album would not have been released on A&M originally because that distribution deal had not even been inked at that. This album came out in '77, and that distribution deal was not in effect yet. All right. So then we go back to another Resurrection album that surprised me, and it's this one, DMZ. Because when I pulled the vinyl out on this one, Light Records. Who do I normally associate with Light Records? Another band, Sweet Comfort Band. They're also on Light Records. Also Andre Crouch. I tend to think of Andre, but especially, I guess the Sweet Comfort Band was the first band that I'm aware of on Light Records. All right, so, boy, Jake, come down. Thank you, buddy. All right, so one last one, and I'll go to the mainstream for this one. This one kind of surprised me. I was at a not a flea market, thrift store of sorts. I found this. Derek and the Dominoes, Layla. Well, I pulled the vinyl out on this, and it's on RSO, which is a label that Brad showed in his video. And it really but that kind of threw me, because I don't associate RSO with serious music at all. Every time I see an RSO label, I think about a single called it was put out by Rick Dees, called Disco Duck. It was in a jukebox in the Dairy Queen when my mom used to manage. And I would go in, I was a kid, and I would go in and sit in one of the booths sometimes while she worked. And so I associate Disco Duck with that. And I don't have it to show, but I have ordered it. In fact, I'm trying to get a jukebox strip to go with it, because that just seems appropriate. All right. So now, I've given 5 examples. Let me give a story. We're going to go back to 2001. My buddy Dave. I've not shared this story But my buddy Dave introduced me to jazz. He brought me John Coltrane's Love Supreme to listen to. He also brought me Jimmy Smith's The Sermon. These are the copies that I went out and bought after I decided I really dig this jazz stuff. So I'm just headlong in the jazz at that point, and just trying to absorb as much jazz as I possibly can. I'm even watching BET on jazz. That's where I saw the video for So What, the Miles Davis song, So What, with Coltrane and Davis just killing it. So I had to run right out and buy this CD, Miles Davis Kind of Blue, an essential jazz album. All right, so what's that got to do? Where are we going with this? Well, I'm watching BET on jazz, and there's this little dark-haired girl, dark-haired lady, and she is so cute. And back in those days, there was some kind of online publication. Was it called Ice Magazine or something like that? But anyways, I could go there and look through the list of upcoming albums to kind of keep an eye open on what was getting ready to come out. Actually, what I'd do is I'd keep an eye on that list so that when the albums were coming out, I would go to Ear Ecstasy here in Louisville, and I would go through their used bin, because a lot of times they would take promo copies and put them in the used bin. Yeah. So anyway, I'd seen this young lady. She had been doing promo spots for BET on jazz, she said her name and all this, and I spot her name. She's got a solo album coming out, and I think, oh wow, I really want to check that out. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about Norah Jones. I found her CD the day it come out. I went and got her CD. I was shocked because Ear Ecstasy, I don't know if they were running some kind of promo for it because she was a new artist, but I picked this up for $8, which was a really good price. Took it home, and of course, as gorgeous as she is, that voice, wow, that voice. And I was smitten, and I played her for my buddy Dave, and I think he went right out and got her album. And then one day I'm sitting at work and looking at a paper, and I see Norah's coming to Louisville. She was coming in for a radio conference. I didn't know that. I just knew she was coming down, and I believe she was at the Galt House. And so Dave come into town. I told Dave, hey, man, she's coming into town. We need to go see her. So he comes in. We go downtown, and she's playing in this side room. It's huge, but it's so I walk in, Dave and I walk in, there's a lady standing there, and I had spent all this time trying to get tickets. There were no tickets to be had. You had to be a member of this convention. So Dave and I went down there, and I tried to lie to get in to see Norah Jones. I called the radio station, and they told me that all I had to do was come down here. It was a free concert. Sir, who did you talk to at the radio station? I don't remember who I talked to. Was it a guy? I believe, yeah, it was a guy, but I didn't get his name. So I'm a terrible liar. Maybe I should let my buddy Dave do that. I don't know if he's better at it. Certainly couldn't be any worse at lying than I am. So we did not get in. What was funny was while I'm standing there talking to this lady and lying through my teeth to try to get to see Nora Jones, um, she had walked out of the bar behind me. I had seen her up front around the piano. She had walked out of the bar behind me, and Dave let me know that. And he said, "Man, she passed within a foot of you, and you didn't even notice." So we went upstairs because he saw her go upstairs, and I guess she had gone to the restroom, and we're standing up there, and she walks out, and of course I'm too shy to say anything. But it all worked out because about a month later, Dave and I went up to the Indianapolis Jazz Fest, and she played there one afternoon, or during the afternoon. We saw a whole bunch of artists that weekend. Um, it was crazy. I had to pick. I had to pick between Roy Haynes and his Birds of a Feather group or Aretha Franklin. Oh man, that there should be laws against putting those kind of acts up against one another in time slots. Anyway, so I did get to see Nora. No, I didn't get to talk to her, but yeah. So there you have it. A a vinyl confession of sorts. Yeah, I've got a thing for Nora Jones. So um, anyway, that's my entry. I need to hurry and get this uploaded, and everyone in this contest should be worried because this is exactly when I usually win these contests, is when I sneak in at the very last second and get an entry in. So be afraid, be very afraid. For Jake, Aretha's around here being a terror, and but we hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you. We're going to see you real soon because next I'm getting ready to film a haul video from the Fat Rabbit. Hey, H2Vinyl, great channel. I'm going to put a link down in the description if you. I'm sure you know about him, but if you don't, sub him. Great channel. He's so down to earth, and he shows a lot of great stuff that I've never seen before. So get over there and sub him, and congratulations on the 200 subs, Brad. Well deserved, and yeah, we'll see y'all soon.